My name is Suzanne Sullivan. I am the Director of Resource Development for Good Shepherd Center, so I coordinate fundraising and our volunteers. Our mission is to feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, and foster the transition of those in crisis to independence in the community. We serve 3 meals a day in our soup kitchen, and breakfast and lunch is for anybody in the community who is hungry. Dinner is for our overnight homeless guests. Good Shepherd, with its 3 meals a day, probably serves over 500 individuals every single day. I say the only thing the folks in the shelter have in common is that they are homeless. They all have their own unique story. The economy is bad right now, so there may be a layoff that forces them to deplete their savings in the end here. They might be struggling with mental illness, physical disabilities. They mostly don't have the safety net of family when they run into hard times, so we end up being their safety net and help them get back on their feet. We probably have about 500 active volunteers. So we have different groups that volunteer in the soup kitchen at lunchtime and at dinner time to prepare and serve the meals.
I'm Louisa and I'm 13 years old. We're coming out here to help out with all the people in Wilmington who are hungry or homeless. And I think it's really fun and it's helpful too. We made garlic bread and cheese sandwiches, and there's chicken too and salad.
Cheese is a real luxury here. We don't get that donated so much, so our guests really enjoy cheese sandwiches. We have an active food salvage program called Second Helpings, where volunteers go out in the community to grocery stores, restaurants, bakeries, and they pick up food and bring it back to the center. We use about 1/3 of it in our soup kitchen. The other 2/3 we share with other organizations in the community who also feed the hungry. And in a year we salvage about 300 to 400 tons of food that would otherwise have gone in a dumpster.
My name is Monica. This is my granddaughter Chloe, my grandson Andrew. They provide excellent service. They help us out quite a bit. All the volunteers here are really nice. They're a great help to the community, I think, right now with all the hard times and everything.
We're having a homeless crisis here in Wilmington. They just did a point-in-time count in January, and it indicated that our homeless population has increased by 27% over last year. There is a severe lack of affordable housing. Particularly for those on the lower end of the wage scale, therefore we help our guests not only reach their employment goals but also their educational goals. So that's a real problem for us to help folks move from the emergency shelter to housing when there is no housing to be found. But in a year we transition at least 100 individuals from emergency shelter to housing every single year, and we have been doing that since our night shelter opened in 2005. The volunteers are very loving and caring. The food is nutritional and substantial, and they're welcomed here, and it's a bright, lovely, very clean place. I do think it brings